Bengals Cardinals coming up next on the Cincinnati podcast.
Coming up on the Cincinnati podcast.
Hello, world. Cincinnati. You guys are the Yoshi creators, bro.
It's a new beginning. You know what that means, right?
But I know this, the whole NFL is scared of the Bengals.
Welcome to the Cincinnati pod. I am Ace. He is Zim. Happy holidays to you guys out there. You haven't heard from us in a while. As you guys know, holiday season gets busy, but we still wanted to make sure that we made time for you guys to recap the last game, even though it's pretty much into Cardinals mode, but we'll still give you guys our thoughts on that game and how we see things going forward. First of all, Zim, how was your holiday, bro?
It was excellent, bro. I even figured out time to go on there and just cook a couple Lamar Jackson tweets real quick. You know, that's one of my favorite pastimes, telling everybody about him being the most aided quarterback in the history of football, the most Pro Bowlers, the most All-Pros, but only 3 playoff wins. Do you know that there was a Bengals dude that was like, you need to appreciate greatness? I was like, F the Ravens, F everything about them, and get out of here. Happy holidays. We are back. I'm ready to go do another show. How was your Christmas?
It was great, bro. It came early with the Lamar stuff and, you know, with the Ravens losing and looking like they're pretty much going to not be the first team to win the North 3 times in a row. But it was great, man. Got to chill with the fam, relax, and hit that reset button. So appreciate that. Appreciate that, Lashana, for the belated birthday. Appreciate that as well. That was earlier in the month. But yeah, man, it's been a good time to reflect, especially on several different things. You always tell me, you know, the Bengals can't run our complete life. Sometimes you have to get me back refocused. And, you know, that's what I've been trying to do, but still been paying attention to the Bengals as well. I actually saw something that I didn't like about Joe Burrow with him going back to the old cleats. What do you think about that? Like abandoning the special cleat, going back to the original cleat, which, if I'm not mistaken, when they first talked about his cleats, dude said that those were like the worst cleats that you could wear to play football in.
They did a special on this. I don't know if everybody saw this though. I really think that might give you a little bit more mental comfort is that they said that the inserts now that he's put inside of his shoes, it now tracks him in his best explosion rate off of jumping off of it, running and doing different things. He has a very intricate system now that has been placed on the inside of his shoe, along with the metal plate that Joe Burrow said is uncomfortable. So I'm believing that they've taken that same format and just placed it inside of it. They had a special on this about 2 weeks ago. I think it was on Fox, or actually, let me not say that incorrectly. But they did talk about that. I forgot the reporter that did it, but it was really good. I'm gonna repost it to my Twitter, so if anybody wants to see what is the makeup of Joe Burrow's new interior of his shoe, I think that is a really good report that they did. So hopefully he still got that in there. If you know anything about J's or anything like that, the leather on some of those early J's is really soft to me. So when he said
something about the old ones were more comfortable, and they think that it's a sign of his toe progressing or something like that. So I'm not sure if that joint is in there, bro. I'm not sure if that.
I'm gonna tell you, it's a clip. Did you see this in the game? This is third quarter.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see the joint where Joe got his foot kind of rolled up on, and he got up late, and he took a while to get up?
Mm-hmm. Nah, I didn't see that one. Nah, I didn't.
Bro, I don't know. Do you think I should post that? I don't know if Bengals fans deserve, like, they need to get even more, like, you know what I mean? Because it's been a season, but it looks really bad, bro. It looks really bad. I know if somebody in the comments got to know what I'm talking about. He got rolled up, and the dude grabbed his foot and almost like kind of gator rolled him a little bit as he's falling. And it took Joe a while to get up a little bit. And then the camera went all over to something else. And
then it looks like somebody said they saw that.
Bro, it was nasty. I didn't like it, bro. That was the one thing in that game. And we were up too. I was like, bro, what is that? And he stood on the ground. He was on the ground a little too long for me. I posted like half of it because I was like, it's gonna just make everybody just crash out if I post the whole thing. So I don't know. But you want to in that game, Joe
Yeah.
Burrow goes over 300 yards, 4 touchdowns. Chase Brown, third quarter, 3 touchdowns alone. Joe Burrow looks like he's having fun,
Mhm.
cooking up. Did you have any other takeaways? I mean, the defense looked pretty solid in that game to me. Miles Smith now is coming into his own.
Yeah.
Anything that you left from that game feeling like, hey, this is and shout out to Joe Burrow, FedEx Player of the Week too, as a result.
Yeah, man. I think this is what the Bengals look like when they play complementary football, right? You see the defense be able to step up. You see the offense answer the bell, especially after a game where they were shut out. To see them put up 45, and we talked about it, and you said, man, I felt like they could have scored 60, and I felt the same, right? Like at a certain point, it just seemed like when were the Bengals not going to score on offense. So you like to see that, right? Like there was a little bit of I probably described the feeling as bittersweet because it's like, man, if we would have just done this a while ago, and I'm not gonna say like they're gonna drop 45 on every single person and just dominate every team like that. But obviously we could have used some of that 45 the week of Baltimore. Or, hey, we could have used 7 more the week against the Bills. But to see them go out and dominate on offense, I think speaks to when you're in evaluation mode, you're evaluating who is staying on this offense and who is expendable, right? And I think that you saw from that game, obviously, we know the 3 that are not touchable are T. Higgins, even though people are trying to have whispers about that, Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow. You know that that's your foundation. But also, you saw Chase Brown is not expendable. You saw the value of Chase Brown coming out there in that game. And then you even saw Gesicki make some plays. And when you see this offense firing on all cylinders and the offensive line is playing well, this is what you get from the Cincinnati Bengals. This is what people were expecting. Now, it may be unfair to expect Burrow to be in a situation a few weeks ago where we expected him to be this then, because obviously he's got to get some of that wear and tear off. He's got to get back in shape. He's got to knock the rust off. And to be honest, there were some of those games he didn't have T. Higgins, right? So, it just sucks from an organizational standpoint that if Joe Flacco wins 2 or 3 games instead of 1, they're probably at this point still being able to make a significant push into the playoffs. So I thought that the offense looked great. I thought defensively we had some guys that were unsung heroes step up. I know that there's been a running joke, I think, on the Bengals post show that, why is Jalen Davis still on the roster? Well, Jalen Davis showed last week why he's still on the roster with him getting that big interception there. You saw some flashes from Jordan Battle. Myles Murphy appears to be coming along. So you're starting to see on defense, like there's some notable pieces that we may be able to build around on that side of the ball. So it was good to see the game and see them respond in a way that made it look like they still haven't quit. They're still not packing it in. They're still going out there and trying to put a good effort out there. But then there's also a part of me that's like, man, like I wanna praise our team, but then it's like, how much is that? The Dolphins having a rookie quarterback out there just throwing multiple picks and throwing the game away at the same time. So it's hard to evaluate in this mode because it seems to me, and we're seeing this from the Cardinals too, according to their injury reports, like teams are packing it in. They're not really putting their true players out there. So for me, I thought it was great to see some winning football, but like I said, it was bittersweet. How was it for you from watching the offense cook up and the defense do their thing?
Same. Going into the game, I knew I'm like, well, Jamar can get his numbers. Joe can feel a little bit more confident moving forward. It's just is too little, too late. Had they shown me that, like, come on, we got blanked. At the Ravens, like the team I hate the most, you get blanked. I just can't get over it. I'm upset at the Bills game. Because of Joe, in that spot. I thought he played incredible in the beginning of that game. To have those back-to-back picks, I still think about that because that's ultimately what doomed us in. And so that whatever. But the Ravens won 5 trips inside the 35. You walk away with no points. They were lifeless. I thought the defense came out early in that game and they were incredible at the beginning of that game. And moving forward, I was like, dang, I think that they figured out some stuff with Lamar. You know what I mean? And I did feel good about that, but that was my only decent takeaway, I guess, from losing and your season being over. Then going over to this game, I'm like, okay, you guys look crazy and y'all going crazy in this game and scoring all these points. Why you ain't give me some? Like, if you would have just gave me a couple of points early in that Ravens game, like, that game might look different. Jamar dropping passes early in that game. He had a little hitch route he dropped. Tinsley dropped the touchdown. Yoshi dropped the 40-yard bomb. That game, that Ravens game, they treated that game like it meant nothing. And then to see them play so carefree because the weather's better, I don't know. I didn't like that. And early in this game too, I will say this though. I thought the offensive line wasn't looking as strong at the beginning of this. I thought Joe was getting a lot of pressure, and he had another example of a free rusher coming in. I think it was Seiler or whatever the dude's name is early in that game. But he got sacked a couple times in that game, and I've been bragging about the offensive line all season. They ended up, second half looking really, really good. But I thought early on, the last 2 weeks, I thought the offensive line kind of took a little bit of a step back, but they regrouped good in the second half of that game. But every time that I watched anybody make a play, even the defense making the 3 straight turnovers and everything like that, I'm just like, why y'all ain't give me this all season? Why you ain't give me this? And I said all that to say this. Had they just gave Joe like one more win while he was gone, whether it was Flacco in the pick 6 against the Patriots, whether it was Jordan Battle not getting a tackle in the Bears game at the end of that game on Loveland, whether it was not being able to get Justin Fields on the ground after Trey Hendrickson goes out in the Jets game. It's so many of these instances. I'm like, you would play your best game of the season in the first game that it has no meaning at all. And that in itself, for a competitive, spirited person like myself, made me angry for real. It made me angry. I live for I always say, I love people pushing back on the front office. I love them pointing out the discrepancies of all these different things. But once the game starts up, I'm just not a guy that's going to be like, man, Duke Tobin should have made Jordan Battle make that tackle. Like, when the game is playing, I'm such an ultra competitor that I cannot believe that we got blanked by the Ravens. And then y'all come back in a game that has no meaning. It was cool to see, I guess, but at the end of the day, I just was like, bro, I can't believe y'all are that weak that you weren't going to, do the same thing in these spots that we needed you guys. And that was the part that made me angry, because contrary to people's belief, it's not that I'm a homer and it's not that I'm just giving the front office a pass. It's that I want to win so bad that I don't care who's out there. If you got on a Bengals uniform while the game is going, give me them dubs. And for them to not be competitive, like I wake up thinking like, let me go cook a couple Ravens, let me cook a couple Steelers. Like, I'm just competitive. Like, and then they be like, why you hate them so much? I mean, I don't know. I hate all of those teams. I don't like any of those teams. I give respect where it's due, but here we are.
I see
all these stunts in them.
I see some comments thinking that I don't know. I guess they are assuming that I was satisfied from that. I'm not satisfied. Like I said at the end of that, like, how much is that Miami playing a rookie quarterback, clearly tanking, pulling Tua out, pulling other guys out. And I think you're going to see that with the Cardinals. And I think that you're going to see that also with the Browns. And it's hard to really take these wins at this stage for me and just be like, oh, everything's fixed now. I personally, this is not the opinion of Cincinnati or Zim or anything. I personally feel like it's not enough, even if they win these last 3 games, right? Like, that's cool from a morale standpoint, but don't get it twisted. There's still work to do in the offseason. If they plan on hiring a GM, I think that that's on the table. But I'm also realistic in the point of, I might want Zach Taylor gone. I don't know if this team is going to say Zach Taylor will be gone, because they're going to look at it and say Joe Burrow was gone for X amount of games. Is this really on Zach Taylor? Me personally, I just feel like if you miss the playoffs 3 seasons in a row, In any profession, I think you need to be replaced. But are they going to think that? I don't know, bro. Like, I'm not sure because Joe Burrow means everything to this team. And I think one of the things my critiques of the front office is everything shouldn't be on Joe Burrow. You got to better and build the things around him to be more stable so that if there is a situation where he does miss a game or two, the team just doesn't fall off the map. So we'll see. We'll see what that means. But we got a couple of super chats here. I don't know if you wanted to say something in response to that, Zim.
I do. Let's read this. Let's read this first one, the first super chat. But I am going to remember my thought. I want to talk to you about that coaching thing. All right, but
for sure.
MB34012, appreciate you. Thank you for coming to the Cincinnati podcast. Mims is a part of the Untouchables. I agree with that. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think Mims is a guy. As soon as it's time to, he's extension eligible, you should be having those conversations. You should be extending him. And I think these guys, the Bengals, need to get ahead of these things like they did with Geno Atkins, like they did with AJ Green back in the day, and start extending these key pieces. And I'm talking about Geno, the first extension, not the second one. But they need to get ahead of these things so that they're getting more value on a guy like DJ Turner, on a guy like Amarius Mims. Like, go ahead and get him because he's definitely going to be a cornerstone going forward. But you were going to say something about the coaching, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, in terms of coaching, right? What's a coach that everybody would say that they would probably take in the NFL right now? And that's Dan Campbell, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen a lot of Bengals people say this. So Dan Campbell, without Ben Johnson, is 11-21-1 and was eliminated. And that's an organization that a lot of people say that they want, Bengals fans like, man, we need to do more like them. They did sign like Amon St. Brown, all these guys, and got all the guys like under contract and did a lot of things the right way. They out. Jared Goff has one of the highest cap hits in the NFL coming up next year. So it's like a lot of times I wish that I think it's really great that we're getting the one side of the coin from a lot of our writers and a lot of like content creators that are talking about like what we should do and who we should get and what are, like this is what they should, but they never really come back and talk about the other flip side of some of these teams like the Colts. Colts gave up 2 first-round picks for Sauce Gardner in an all-in move.
Mm-hmm.
Eliminated.
Oh, you know what also happened, right? The defense fell off a cliff. You know that, right? Everybody was glazing Lou early, but now like
got a 50-piece put on them.
Yeah, got a 50-piece. Indy hasn't been looking good.
Santa came and gave Lou a box with a ribbon on it with a 50-piece nugget on it, and it said "Merry Christmas." So like. We complain about all of this stuff. I even got a graphic out here right now. It says the teams with the most losses in the last 25 years of football. The Bengals aren't even in the top 15 on that list. And our fan base calls us the worst in football. The Bengals also, unlike the Lions and all these different teams or a team like the Colts that gave up 2 firsts, the Bengals also have over $100 million in cap space this upcoming season, 110. ESPN has them as the 4th, highest team that they think is going to make a, whatever, who cares, right? But $110 million in cap space with their big 3 already signed, where a lot of these other teams are searching for answers. Now, you did bring up a really good point about like some of the things that they should do. I think the GM thing is a big deal. A team that I would like to highlight is going to be the Bills. If they don't win a Super Bowl, I'm going to be a nasty mother effer on this timeline. Because that's a team that, like everybody's saying, get out in front of it. Get out in front of it. Greg Rousseau, they got a list of, I'm going to tell you, I got a list. They got a lot of dudes that are signed that you got out in front of that don't even contribute to their team. They better win it all, or I'm going to be on everybody's ass about this, about what the Bills are doing. Because now I'm in hate watch mode. So, they'll be like, well, you ain't made the playoffs. Well, when I went to the playoffs and I won meaningful games, it wasn't enough. It wasn't just I made the playoffs. So don't tell me now, oh, yeah, well, you ain't in the playoffs and they're in the playoffs. That we were told as Bengals fans, that's nothing to celebrate about. You can only celebrate Super Bowls. So I'm in that mode. But there's a flip side of everything. I think all these arguments, like even the one you presented and the ones that most of our fan base are presenting, get out in front of it. Sign these guys. There's a flip side to all of that. Teams like the Saints that have the worst cap health in football are always scrambling every year. Even a team like the Ravens, they draft really, really well. Me and you have talked about this. They don't sign quality free agents to me. Kyle Van Noy is probably one of the best free agent signings I think they have. He's an upcoming free agent coming up this year. But Lamar Jackson now has a $75 million cap hit coming up this season, and that stems from some of the stuff that in those reports that we were getting, Mike Preston or whatever. Shout out to Michael Preston doing your thing over there at the Baltimore Sun. You want to come on the Cincinnati pod? Come on over here, Mike Preston, doing your thing. But they're pointing out there's a lot that goes with just pay that guy. Yeah, you just paid that guy, but you didn't do it the way that the Bengals did it. And now as a result, you running up against a $75 million cap hit for a team that everybody tells us that we need to be like. Joe Burrow ain't even top 10. I got a list. It got over 1 million views on it right now. It shows the top 10 cap hits in the NFL. 90% of the list, them teams ain't in the playoffs or nothing. Jared Goff of the world and all the Tua Tagovailoa or whatever bro's name is, Tyreek Hills of the world, all these people that everybody said just go pay. There's a flip side of it, and I just wish that our fan base would highlight that so that other people can see that there's a reason why you can't whatever. I think they'll just exercise the 5th-year option on a guy like Myles Murphy. But I think I've seen enough where I would extend them. You know what I mean? So, but there's a conversation that says that you don't really have to. You don't. Just like Trey Hendrickson. You don't have to give him those guarantees. He got injured. He didn't get it. And now we're at a crossroads where if you would have gave him that, what do you think the fan base would have said all season when he didn't come back? Right. I think they would have been upset. Like, bro, we gave him all this guaranteed money and he ain't play and we ain't missed the playoffs. Is a flip side to all these conversations. If you choose to never explore them, I can't help you. But we got to look at both sides as we move forward. You didn't read this other one, did you?
No, I'm going to read it now. It looks like Multi Marco 45. Appreciate the super chat, bro. 3 observations from the Dolphins game. 1, T has a new helmet. Number 2, a lot of Bengals fans in attendance. Number 3, T has learned not to fall on his head. Nah, for sure, bro. Seeing T back on the field felt good. I was concerned for him, but glad to hear that he's got a new helmet. There's a lot of Bengals fans in Florida, bro. For those that don't know, I'm from Cincinnati, but I live in Florida. There's a ton of Bengals fans down here, so I'm not surprised to hear that there were a lot of Bengals fans in attendance versus Miami. Also happened when we were at the Bucs game as well a few years ago.
Number 3 is a banger. Multi Marco, you know ball. I told you this off air. So me and Ace both coach AAU basketball. I actually took 10 minutes out of one time at practice where I ran a drill where we were teaching kids not to just give yourself up and fall on your head, because I had this one practice where kids were just falling all over the place. A lot of people need to start getting on board with the safety on the things that you also have a little bit of control over or some bit of control over. And when you're going to fall, I always teach our kids, like, falling on the ground, nothing good happens. You have to will yourself to stay on your feet. You fall on the ground, bad things can happen to you. And one thing that I noticed in that Bills game is like him just like, and just giving up. Now I get it. He's running 100 miles per hour. He's an athlete and it's crazy. I thought the biggest change is what Multi Marco is saying. Go watch those catches when he's catching over 2 top people. He purposely, go look at his neck. He purposely is keeping his neck up and catching like that. Whereas in the Bills game, he was just like, just letting it hit there. I'm like, what are you doing? And he did that twice. And I thought sometimes you're not able to control it. But I thought number 3, if you really know ball, go watch those catches. Just go look at highlights on YouTube. Go watch the highlights in the Dolphins game versus the way he was catching in the Bills game. I thought he did a phenomenal job of doing it.
Nah, for sure, man. So that's gonna bring us on to this Cardinals game. Not really excited to break this game down. I mean, it's been one of those years like what the Bengals are going against who's the quarterback now? The dude that used to be in Cleveland?
Brisket.
Jacoby Brisket. Yeah, this is not gonna be
They sitting everybody. The tank is on. You gonna have to call
the
Master
tank is
P.
on. And what some people said, which I said as well, is winning these games also hurts your draft spot, right? Like, so that's one of the things I'm worried about, especially when you're facing a team like the Cardinals, who is a 3-win team. You know, they're competing with you for that. So they're going to make sure that you don't leapfrog them, right, in these last 2 weeks. So that's another part of it. But this is a situation where one thing that I think that's interesting, right, and I'm not trying to take a victory lap or anything like that, but I remember a lot of people telling me that Marvin Harrison Jr., it wasn't even close between him and Malik Neighbors. And I was a Neighbors guy. I'm a
Neighbors guy through and through, boy.
Neighbors I was a Neighbors guy. And like, what do you think about the Marvin Harrison Jr. thing like going on there now? Because it's been like a very weird season for him.
I don't think he has that competitive. He could be AJ Green. He might. But as of right now, I think that to me, that would be his absolute max, right? They were selling him. Now, you might say, well, that's really good. Nah, they were selling him as though he was like one of them prospects that is
They were selling him like he was like Jamar Chase, bro.
They were selling him like Calvin. They were selling, to me, I think his max could be AJ Green, which is phenomenal.
Right.
But
I don't know if he's that, bro. I don't know if he's like
I don't think he's that. I don't think
AJ is one of my favorite receivers of all time. And I think the biggest thing about him is AJ was a complete receiver. You talking short, intermediate, deep, like he could do it all. Like
part of it is who is throwing to Marvin, but even when Kyler was there, like not even this year, last year as well, I think that his drive and just there's this weird awareness. We were talking about T.O. with our boy Bash yesterday. It's a certain awareness. I actually had that game. You know the joint where they drop Uzi got this for Christmas. You know where they drop the things, you hit the button and it's got a remote control, and then you gotta go catch them with one hand, like you saw Jamar and T. You ever seen that?
No, I haven't seen it.
Oh, okay. So it's a hand-eye coordination game where it's a remote control and it drops these things out the sky.
Oh, you're talking about those? Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Okay.
If you notice, some people hold their hands high. I pay attention to everything. Some people hold them a little lower. Some whatever. When it came my time, so as a family on Christmas, we're going crazy. Everybody's competing. We're having like a tournament at this point. It's like 4-on-4. When I go, like like that, and then my son's like, "Why are you going? Like, why you why you doing it like that? Why your hands so low?" I was like, "Cause it's all right here, And I'm like talking trash and stuff like that, and I'm playing, but at the same time, Marvin Harrison don't got that. Like if it's like this, he's like, "Oh shucks," whereas I'm like, what the, I'm talking to myself. You know what I'm saying? You could call it dog. I think it's also like, how do you feel like when the ball is in the air? Jamar Chase, not last week against the Ravens, but he still had 132. He was cooking. But certain guys like Neighbors, when the ball is in the air, like it's only me. And you know what I mean? And I just think I see Marvin Harrison Jr. sometimes, shucks. You know what I'm saying? Like, you dropping too many passes to be like, shucks, like, I don't know, bro. You know what I mean? I just that's the thing that I think is missing with him, because speed-wise, he is fast. I think he's a longer stride guy, but his stride to me is faster than AJ Green. The jump ball ability, I don't know about, does he have the juggling background or anything like that? But he seems like he has pretty good coordination with that. He has the skills, but
bro, I question that dog. 2 seasons, possibly under 1,000 yards, bro. That's disgusting. Like,
see, that's what's wrong with you guys. Y'all think that this is easy. See, Jamar Chase makes this. T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. Y'all think 1,000 yards is easy these days.
Bro,
It's not that easy.
62 catches, 60. I hear people complain when T. Higgins had seasons of these numbers as a number 2, 62 receptions, 885 yards, 8 touchdowns. Like, that's, I don't know, bro. I just wanted to hear your thoughts on it because it's like the hype that dude had coming in and what he's been thus far. Like, I don't know. I wonder if we're gonna even play him. That's gonna be an interesting matchup for DJ Turner.
Oh, you're getting strapped. You're getting strapped, brother.
Yeah, he's
You're
getting
getting
strapped.
strapped. I'm gonna call his dad and be like, "Hey, look, your son ain't nothing like you. DJ Turner's taking him to the island. Like, bro, it's over for you, bro. Straps." Can I say somebody might could correct this in the chat? Shout out to Ryan. He needs to come back on over here and produce for us. Ryan would know this. I heard this going to your draft stuff. If the Bengals were to win out, the highest possible draft pick, I was told after Vikings won yesterday, the highest pick I was told that we could have is 13. Is that correct? Because I want, right now we're on pace for number 9. And we get number 9, who I'm getting Caleb Downs. And their mocks are coming out today. They got us getting Caleb Downs. I'm just letting you guys know. And he's you like Minka. If you like Minka, he's our version. This would be our identity playmaking dude. That's the pick. It's so easy. And the reason why, am I getting too far ahead of myself? Let's go back to the Cardinals. Let's go back to the Cardinals. But currently right now, I think number 13 is the highest, even if we win out. So I don't know how you feel about that. I know you haven't started looking at.
Man, I mean, 13, I think you can still get Caleb Downs, right?
It's tough. It's gonna be tough.
But I need
if we could get top 11, I've looked at this.
I don't like this. This is what I'm gonna say, man.
This
is what I'm gonna say. I've seen Duke Tobin mess up a top 10 pick. I've seen him do it before. And I'm not mad at him for going John Ross, but at the time, me personally, I didn't think that was the right pick. But if they are picking at number 9, it's not a guarantee. I say that to say that, not to take a shot at use them or anything. I'm just saying that to say that the people that are like, oh, Duke Tobin, if you have to help him and get him a top 10 pick, like that takes him out. Nah, because we've seen him not make the right pick in this situation at certain times. And that's one thing that I kind of worry about. I also think back to the Jonah Williams pick as well. Like, it's not a sure thing that Duke Tobin is going to definitely get the right pick with it being a top 10. So for me, like, the lower the better, brother, is all I'm going to say. Like, because I would hate to be sitting there and we're all like Caleb Downs, and they're like, with the 12th pick in the NFL draft, they're blah, 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 blah. Select Caleb Downs. Say, like, bro, every time we draft, the player that everyone always wants, that everybody is thinking, even NFL teams are thinking, there's no way we can let this guy get to the Bengals, Walter Nolan. The pick before, or a couple picks before, it's always that player. It's always teams trading in front of us. Like, the Steelers low-key tried to do it thinking that year that we were going to get Devin Bush, but we weren't going to get Devin Bush. But they literally came from 20 all the way into, I think it was 9 or 10 or something like that, to jump in front of us to take who they thought we were going for. And I would just hate for that to be the situation and the circumstance that the Bengals find themselves in. So the draft placement is very important, but also I say, like, proceed with caution if you think that it's just going to be a slam dunk with Duke picking in the top 10. Now, top 5, you're good. Top 10, top 15, it gets a little shaky.
I'm going to tell you, if we get past 12, 13, I haven't gotten into deep draft anything. I don't like that. Because I don't like that at all. Because I'm going to tell you, all right, let's just get into it a little bit. Sonny Styles is a linebacker that I don't think that the Bengals would draft, right? Sonny Styles is the linebacker from Ohio State, because they just used 2 draft picks on the linebackers.
I would still take them, bro. Those draft picks were good, bro. They were good, bro. That's the Chris Jenkins thing that we said Bro, I am not letting Demetrius Knight and Barrett Carter stop me from taking a better linebacker, bro.
Can you imagine being in a war room and somebody's like, all right, we put the pick in. We got the linebacker in the situation. Somebody's like, wait, I've got Demetrius Knight at home. No. All right, no. I'm not saying that those players are better. I think that the Bengals would go into the draft already getting a veteran linebacker. Drake Greenlaw, Leo Chanel. I know that this is a pipe dream, but Devin Lloyd from the Jaguars is who I want. Yeah. I've been told that they're going to franchise tag and whatever. So I'm just saying the draft capital mixed with I think that they get a linebacker free agency. Sonny Styles to me will be off the board. The next one is Ruben Bain, edge rusher from Miami. That's a guy that I really like. They've been rumored to say that he might go as early as 5. We're super early. The other one, cornerback. This is who you're going to like. Remember, I said this on December 26th. Ace is a big cornerback guy. He's going to want.
Not everybody now. Not everybody. Tell you,
but you're going to like this guy. Mansour Delaney from LSU is another guy. Hey, look, December 26th. Go tell all your draft analysts or whatever. I don't care what happens. The guys that I'm naming on this show, you could clip this right now, will be the best guys in this spot, and they will contribute in the league immediately. That guy right there. And then the next one is Arvell Reese from Ohio State linebacker. Then you'll have guys
like Arvell. Arvell is nasty.
Guys that are not as high impact to me early on. Peter Woods. I think if we don't draft them, then I think the Ravens will draft them. They're going to need D tackle with the Matabuke stuff, whatever. But those are the main guys right there. Caleb Downs in that 9-10 spot because he plays safety. Some of those guys that I was just naming and guys that I didn't name will be drafted before him. I think it's a rare occasion where the Bengals could Kyle Hamilton this thing, and I don't think they're going to miss. If he's there, I know that we've had some problems with you, Duke. Duke, I know you watching. You're going to make the right pick this time, brother. This is what we're going to do. We're all going to be on one accord. We don't have to do all these draft specials and all this other stuff. If he's gone, he's gone. But it better be one of them other dudes that I just named. I'm going to tell you right now that that's how the board should shape. But the problem is, pick 13, 14, 15, super dicey. You might get Peter Woods. You might. And depending on how the guy tests. I'm super early, but this is where it's going to go. This is what it's going to be. I'm just telling you. December 26th.
You ain't wrong, bro. Like, somebody is going to be looking like, I don't want this person in strike. I don't know what it is, but everybody always has an idea of who they don't want to end up on the Bengals to help us, and they just jump in front.
And that's gonna be. I thought you were about to say it's a guy that we don't want, and that's the guy that we gonna draft.
So it'll be the guy that we want. This is what it's been in my opinion, for the last couple of years. It'll be the guy that we all want. A team jumps up in front of us and gets him, and then we get the guy that most of us don't want or isn't our first choice, right? But sometimes it works out. So we'll see how it works out, bro. But they gotta do some. I've been hearing a lot of people praising the 2023 draft. Yeah, they need to have a draft like that in this one for sure. They have to knock this one out of the park if they're gonna sell us on these guys coming back. And they gotta increase the scouts that they have. Something has to change, bro. Something's got to change. Got a super chat here from Hippie Prophet. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. We might not always agree on the Bengals, but it's always who they and always love. We all want to see a ring in Cincy. Appreciate everything that you guys do. No Name Bun. I didn't know that was him. What's up, No Name?
What's up, Forrest?
What's up, Brody? Appreciate
that. Shout out to
man.
my guy, Forrest. Let me tell you about this guy. Really quick, because this is really special. I appreciate all of y'all. But there are very, very times that I get a chance to meet people sometimes. Like sometimes I meet you guys at tailgates and stuff. No Name Bum. Met him out in New Orleans one time. When I say that when they talk about let's not go to Bengals games like that, for people like No Name Bum, it doesn't work. You need No Name, like you know how you just need like dogs on your team. You can't have a dog like that at home. Like some of these dogs got to get out here in the streets and start preaching that who they be like. I get it. I know we want to boycott, whatever. But when I get outside, I'm outside. Me and No Name Bun was out in New Orleans tearing the streets down. I'm talking about who they real, like really, real walking past who they, walking up on people who they, like, you know what I mean? Like really hitting the streets. Drunk as a skunk. Shout out to people with your sobriety. I don't want to, I don't want to disrespect that, but drunk as a skunk, hitting the streets, going crazy, running around who they. Shout out to No Name Bum. We need more guys like that. We also need some whistleblowers. We also need some guys guys and girls that's going to let everybody know, like, hey, bro, you guys suck. So, everybody has to play their roles, but this is a dog right here. So appreciate you. I appreciate everybody like watching right now too, because we really are literally bringing up the draft on December 26th.
I'm not mad at it though,
nasty.
bro, because it's not, bro. When we were Orange is the New Black, I always talk about this, and day one fans of me and Zim probably remember this episode, Dirty Cake. That might have been in October, bro. That might have been in October where we were talking about the draft. You were the first person that told me about Joe Burrow, because from my standpoint, like, I remember early you told me about Joe Burrow. I wasn't watching college football. So, like, I used to be for those that don't know, I used to be a big college football fan back in the day. We talking Reggie Bush, Ted Ginn, Antonio Holmes, like Vince Young. But after a while, I kind of stopped watching it. It's very similar to some people that say the same about like the NBA, like, oh, I can't watch it now after Jordan and all of that. Like, I'm like that with college football. Once they got to the point where Alabama was just winning it every year off of recruiting, and it was just Alabama, Clemson, Alabama. Like, honestly, the pre-NIL era, it was like you already knew what was going to happen. So, like, slowly I lost interest in it. But that was the first year that I got back interested. And I remember you telling me about Burrow. That's when I found out about guys like Kyle Pitts, Tua at the time. Remember, I used to be Team Tua back in the day because I didn't know.
It was a lot of them and then he hurt that hip. He had that one game right before then though that like exposed him a little bit, and then Burrow just started lighting it up.
Him versus Burrow was a movie. Him versus game.
I saw a press conference, and I think I did the Dirty Cake episodes. I saw a press conference one day.
I did.
Never forget. I remember I was watching TV in my room, and I was just sitting down. I had my laptop there, and I always keep stuff on the TV. But I had like my Bluetooth, like little AirPod, like them Raycons, them Ray J. I had those in listening to them, and I had muted my TV, and I was like, I had never heard Burrow talk before.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife was like, "Who is that?" I was like, "It's some guy, Burrow." I don't watch college football that hard either, but we're getting closer. And I remember my wife was like, he seemed pretty confident. I was like, yeah, I think we need that type of guy. I was like, but there's other guys that does. She was like, no, that guy right there is pretty confident. I was like, yeah. And then I walked away from that joint, and I like, what? Then he did that. Then he did a string of like little other interviews, and I was like, that's the guy right there. Like when they were, do you ever see that? You ever remember the Burrow interview? He did one with Barstools after he won the championship, where he was drunk. It was lit. Go watch that on YouTube.
Yeah, I remember. I want to say, bro,
he was lit on that.
I think you might have actually played the Burrow interview on one of the podcasts, and you like listened to it.
I'm gonna tell you another one that was crazy. The one where he was about to go into a championship game, and the lady asked him. She showed him a picture of herself, and she was like, and she said, "Who is that right there?" He was like, That's a national champion right there. He hadn't played the game yet, and he was just like, yeah, that's a guy that looked like he's gonna win the championship right there. You know what I mean? I was like, oh my God. I was like, since he got like, bro, that's the guy.
That's right all I'm saying. It's been times like for those who weren't around, like and I'm not trying to take shots here. I'm just calling a spade for a spade and what it is. There weren't a lot of podcasts back when me and you first started Orange is the New Black. There was not a lot of Bengals podcasts floating around. So, like, for the people that think that we just started off as these optimistic, like, it wasn't. Go back and listen to them episodes, bro. Yeah. It was get Dalton out of here. It was 4th and 3 and forever. We had an episode called "It's Time to a Tank," like early to the point where people were telling us that we weren't real fans. You remember that? People were telling us at one point, y'all aren't real fans. Y'all shouldn't want to tank. Y'all shouldn't want. So when you guys,
do you? Oh, I was about to say, do you remember our first interview?
Sean Williams. Sean Williams. I talk crazy about Sean Williams. I ain't
Sean
gonna
Williams.
lie. I talked crazy, and I felt like at some point he was kind of talking to me like, "Yeah, y'all don't know what really goes on here and there. Y'all don't know who's messing up right here and there, and all of this and that."
Sean Williams, that's crazy.
Captain Williams.
Then we did
Williams.
Khaled. Then we did Khaled Kareem not too long after that.
Yep. Khaled Kareem. Yep.
We done interviewed so many people. It's
a lot,
gonna tell
bro.
you,
It's a lot.
the first person that I interviewed, and I did it on my own. I can't even think of bro's name. He was a running back for us, and he left and he went somewhere else. And I'm gonna think of it later in the show. But he actually was really good. Dang, I can't think of bro's name. But bro, we done. I mean, anybody that's saying it, like, think about it. We've been interviewing. Think about it. Hugh Jackson, T.J. Houshmandzadeh, Daniel Jeremiah, Rhett Lewis,
It's a lot, bro.
Colleen Wolfe,
It's a lot.
Willie Anderson,
Yeah.
Carl Lawson, Mark Walton. No, I did not interview Mark Walton. It was another guy. I can't think of bro's name. We done interviewed everybody, bro. Somebody hit me on Christmas and said, "Man, I felt so old. This is how old I am." Bro said, "You got me through my Bengals childhood."
Bro, we've been doing this for like,
you know how
10
crazy
years.
that is to have somebody tell you
we're
that?
going into 2026, bro. I believe I started my joint around 2015, 2016, and I think you were around the same time. Like, it was crazy. It's crazy, bro. It's crazy. So, like, bro, we were here before a lot of different, and again, no slight to them, but when I hear people say like these guys are just positive, and then I'm like, y'all wasn't in the trenches with us when we were back there, because we were openly, like, I literally had, remember the one where I got mad at Duke and I called him Fluke Tobin, and it was a whole episode like right before, and then right after we signed DJ Reader, and I had
DJ Reader and all
that.
I think I called you. Ace was so mad. That Ace might have been the most angry I've ever seen him. Is after day 1 or day 2 of free agency, and we didn't sign nobody, and then all of a sudden Reader and all them started getting signed, and he's just
everybody.
Like, yeah, we was that. Everybody was down bad though. But the crazy thing that I be thinking about is like me and you have gone through different stages of all of this stuff. Like, we've gone through so many different stages where there was a cynical Zim that didn't believe in anything.
Right.
But at the same time, I'm so competitive that I just was like, all right, nah, like, let's go cook these dudes. Like, you know what I mean? Like, when I was first doing this stuff, man, we never beat the Steelers. Like, that was a thing. Like, we never beat them. We never beat them. Like, now to evolve into, like, when we play the Steelers, I'm thinking like it's an upset that they beat us. Like, to think about like where I was at. I remember first time I went to a game, like, the reason I started my page, everybody know, it was a kid that was saying, "Man, I ain't never gone to a Steelers game like by myself or something like that." And I was like, "Bro, I'll meet you up that joint. Like, we straight." And then I met him up there with like, I can't think of dude's name. I met him up there with like 4 or 5 dudes who was in there. He was like, "Man, I might get jumped or something." I was like, "Nah, you cool, bro. We mob up to the game, whatever." That was like my first day. That was the first time I ever went live on Instagram or did anything. Right after that, I started my page. Because I was mad because they never show AJ Green highlights on ESPN. So that's why I started my Instagram. So it's just like, it's so crazy that we've gone through all these stages.
That's why I started YouTube, because I would get on YouTube and there would be nobody talking about the Bengals. Like you said, on ESPN, they never talk about the Bengals. So it was like, all right, like the only people, that's why I always have to give it up to Consenza and AC, because they had the very first Bengals podcast like ever. I think it was Inside the Jungle or something like that.
We gotta get AC on here.
We gotta get AC on. AC showed us love, bro. Like, we had our first episode of Orange is the New Black, and immediately AC reached out to us like, "Man, I want to bring y'all to SB Nation." Much love to AC, forever grateful for everything that he did.
People don't know this. If y'all watching this too, people don't know I used to write for Locked On Bengals. People don't know. Like, I've been doing a lot. Like, people don't know that before Locked On was Locked On, I wrote for them. So, like,
you used the call in too. I heard you on there. They used the call in. You had a little segment. Yeah.
I used to call in on ESPN and with Tony Pike, and James had a segment. So like people don't remember all of this stuff, or like they think that now what they see on Twitter is like, like what it is, or currently right now in Cincinnati. But you really gotta go back and like look and stuff. Like I was showing somebody on Twitter, they were saying, man, remember Drew Chrisman punted the ball down the middle of the field? I said, bro, I asked him that about that on an interview with me.
In the interview,
so if you go look on Orange is the New Black, I believe, or is it Cincinnati? And I
got them on both pages because I think even if you go to Cincinnati, there's a playlist of Orange is the New Black. So if you want to go back and watch some of those, you can for sure.
2022 AFC Championship game. I think if he doesn't punt the ball in the middle of the field, I think the Bengals win that game. Like I've always stood on that. So, but as a result, they get a big 20-something yard return, which gives them the ball in like midfield. All he had to do was just punt the ball out of bounds. It was only like 30-something seconds left. So people forget about that. And then that's when Mahomes scrambled on third down and got those side penalty. But that was a good job of reminiscing. Do we have any other thoughts on this meaningless Cardinals game coming up?
Nah, man, I really don't. Again, we're in evaluation mode. I'm gonna start watching more college games. This is the only time I watch college football is when we have a high draft pick. So I'll start doing that. But obviously, I want to see what Myles Murphy does, Shamar Stewart, some of the young guys. But again, in my book, nobody really outside of DJ Turner, maybe Dax Hill's job is in Jordan Battle. I think Jordan Battle's showing enough now. And maybe Myles Murphy. Outside of those guys, like your position's up for grabs, bro. I don't care who it is. So I'm gonna definitely be watching for sure to see that. I expect the Bengals to win this game. I think the Cardinals are laying down. I think the Browns are laying down. I don't think that any of these teams, the Chiefs are laying down at this point, right? Like we see them out there.
Definitely saw them last night. Let me ask you this: so you think that the Bengals, because maybe even from a betting perspective, you think the Bengals will play all of their starters? In this game?
Yeah, these other teams
That's
like
crazy.
IR lists are looking like Walgreens receipts right now, bro. Like they're just adding people to IR just to shelve them at this point. And I think the Bengals are going to continue to play most of their guys. And most of the young guys are playing anyway, right? So like I don't think they're putting or Jordan Battle on IR for no reason, for some phony injury. I don't think they're putting a DJ Turner on IR for some phony. I think that these guys are going to play the rest of the season. I truly think that they are. And they might end up being blowouts low key, because if you're not like putting a real player or real players out there, I mean, the NFL is about talent at the end of the day. And if you don't have it, I just don't see how you can keep up with this team that the Bengals have. It's almost like we're playing our starters and these other teams are going about it from a preseason perspective. Like, we're sitting these guys and doing this and that. So I expect us to win.
Let me ask you this. Is there anyone specifically, like any of the younger guys, maybe it's Taj Brooks or anybody, is there anybody that you want to see on this team like play out of the young guys?
Out of the young guys, I think you kind of mentioned Taj Brooks. It would be nice to see him, but I think Chase Brown's going to get so many carries. And not really, bro, because like when I think about the offensive players outside of Taj Brooks, I feel like we've seen Yoshi. We know what Yoshi is. We don't have Burton anymore. Mitchell Tinsley, I feel like we know what he is.
I know what he is.
And I'm scared to see any of the young players on defense like play.
I'm the opposite though. I want to see PJ Jules. I think he is one of the biggest hitters on our team. If y'all watched him in the preseason, he was cracking people. I would love to see him. Shaka Hayward. Matt Lee is now eligible to return. I don't know if they have a way to get him out.
I don't know if I want to see him with Burrow and that quarterback. Bro.
I don't, but this is what I was going to say. Maybe not in this Cardinals game. Yeah. I don't think Burrow or Chase should play in the Browns game.
The last game.
I don't even want to picture a Myles Garrett sacking Joe Burrow on the internet
to get the record. Like, nah, bro.
Nah. You can go get that on Joe Flacco maybe. Like if Joe Flacco wants God to take it for a spin.
What about Dejon Anthony?
Yeah, think about all those safeties. There's no reason to see Geno Stone. Just like you saying that, I know what Geno Stone is. Like the Bengals can't possibly. Well, I guess they could. They are cheap. They might say, well, no, we paid him. We need to see him. But like, bro, you got PJ Jules, Tyson Anderson, and dang, who did you just say? Oh, Dejon. You got those three. I need to see them. I don't really need to see battle. I don't need to see nobody potentially get play the backups, bro. Especially the last week. Especially the Browns. The Browns, I don't trust them. I don't, you know what I'm saying? And Myles Garrett, I know he probably going to play just long enough to go get them sack numbers up. If he get like 2 or 3 like in the first half, then I'm pretty sure they would bitch him too. But I'm not interested in seeing Joe Burrow versus the Browns at all. Like, that's the one. Maybe the Cardinals, just to say Joe wants to play, whatever. He get a lead that's 10 plus points by the third quarter. I'm like, take him out. I have no desire to see any of them except Jamar Chase and me bragging to people on Twitter about how he's the greatest wide receiver ever. Him getting his numbers. For whatever reason, I just have no fear Jamar Chase, like anybody getting him in harm's way. He's like built like some kind of cyborg. I don't know. I just like nobody could do anything to him. So, but T. Higgins and Joe Burrow sit them, bro. Like I don't need to see them at all.
I'm with you. Caleb Downs here, another super chat from MB. He said he's great, but the dream picks will be Peter Woods or Ruben Band. We need trench babies. I agree. Definitely got to get them trenches right. Andrew with the $5 super chat. Appreciate that, bro. My 11-year-old son got Bengals tickets for Christmas. Sunday will be his first Bengals game. He's a really good dude. Who they shout out to him, man.
That's good. That's a good atmosphere to go to too.
Yeah,
like
bro.
Cardinals, like he's gonna have a ball.
Yeah, one of the first games I went to was the Corey Dillon Broncos game where he broke the rushing record. So I didn't know, but that was the first win in Paul Brown Stadium. I had no idea as a kid, so definitely a good way to get them started. Should be a dub in my opinion. I'd be shocked if the Bengals lost that game. But yeah, before we get out of here, we got to toss it to the good folks over at Midwest Best Barbecue.
Now they call T. Higgins, or you say number 5s. Either way, you'll be winning. It's them hot honey lemon peppers. Now they call T. Higgins, or you say number 5s. Either way, you'll be winning. They was them hot honey lemon peppers. Now they call T. Higgins, or you say number 5s. Either way, you'll be winning. And much love to Mama T, Uno and CTB. MB's got Bengals wings, and now we just added T's. 9 to 5 winning things. Gritty for Uno wings. We say yes, Sirski now. Like Aces and be saying that T got them new wings. Only at MB's. Honey lemon peppers. Now you can call them T's. Honey lemon peppers. Now they call T. Higgins. Or you say number 5s. Either way, you'll be winning. It's them honey lemon peppers. Now they call T. Higgins. Or you say number 5.
That was nice. I ain't gonna lie.
Shout out to Midwest Best Barbecue, 669 Justice Court in Loveland, Ohio. I hope that you guys ordered with them for the holiday. They did some holiday catering that was amazing. But if you don't, make sure you stop in there and let them know Ace and Zim sent you. They got all kind of wings, some of the best wings in the natty, some of the best brisket. If you're into the ribs, they got that for you. If you're into the sides, they got that for you. They got it all over at Midwest Best Barbecue. Some of the best food in the city. Again, 669 Justice Court in Loveland, Ohio. I always hear people that we send over there. They always send us pictures, messages, all kinds of stuff. Don't miss out on Midwest Best Barbecue. Zim, was there anything that you want to say before we get up out of here?
No, I would just encourage everyone to just, I said no, and then I said, but I would encourage everybody just continue to, watch these games and, try to, send some suggestions, write down some notes and stuff like that. Because one thing I do is from watching these games, like even the game yesterday, that Vikings and Lions game, I was like, this game is not good. And these teams are not really that good. And I think our fans are super hypercritical on what we're doing, which is cool. But these teams don't really be impressing me like that, bro. Some teams do. Like even the Broncos playing up against them backups. Now it's a division opponent, but I don't know. I watched some of that game. I'm just not impressed with a lot of these teams. And when you think about that in conjunction with if Trey Hendrickson maybe plays this season, and I get it's a lot of little ifs. But there's little small things that they could have just figured out 1 or 2 games now. I think you will feel really good about the Bengals going to this playoffs. Right. As much as we don't like the front office, much as we don't like the coach, I think you could look at our team and say, I think that would give a lot of teams some problems in some of these spots, but who knows? But check out those teams and see what they're doing. See what you like. See who they signed that you know. And more importantly, tell me about the free agents that you like, man. Hey, look, there's a guy under the radar, like, that's about to be a free agent. I think we can go get him. Like, I've listed some, I sprinkled some in the show, like Leo Chanel, Dre Greenlaw, some linebackers and stuff. There's some guys I like too, like Denzel Perryman's a vet guy. He recently got suspended for 2 games, but he's a dog. He knows what he's doing. I wouldn't trust him in coverage. And also, I want to shout out, not really a shout out, I just want to highlight Logan Wilson. He did not play a snap for the Cowboys this past Christmas holiday for the game, and he could have helped the Bengals out. He chose to go the other route, and team captain left, headed to Dallas. They deemed him unplayable on one of the worst defenses in football. Could have probably helped the Bengals out down the stretch. Won't see too much criticism from him on the timeline, I'm sure, but that's the guy that could have helped us.
Yes, sir. Happy holidays, and we will see you guys in the new year. Who Dey?
Coming up on the Cincinnati podcast.
Hello, world. Cincinnati.
You guys are the Yoshi creators, bro.
It's a new beginning. You know what that means, right?
But I know this, the whole NFL is scared of the Bengals.